Nope.
Oh,
Yeah, nothing.
well,
Hard to two.
Fun.
Next week we'll catch up.
we have cookies.
I also brought more popcorn.
Oh, that popcorn was good.
It had Himalayan pink salt on
Did you make it?
it. Yeah,
It's good. I love popcorn.
me too. Me too. Betsy, I gave some to Betsy. No. Anyway, Betsy sides.
Oh, I was like, who is Betsy?
No, Elizabeth.
I know.
Mrs. Sides.
Yeah.
She asked me how I like to make popcorn. No, I learned it from my mother because she would volunteer at a hospice house and they always have popcorn available like 24/7. Because like you never know when you might be like at hospice house, you know? So they always have certain things, cookies, muffins, and popcorn for everybody at any given point. And they've really perfected their recipe
Yeah, that was good.
because it's like a commercial.
We going?
We're good. I can't figure out how to show you who's
Okay.
on here, but
Welcome everyone to tonight's select board budget work session meeting. I'm Sabrina Dunlap. We have Stephen Whitley, Vicky Graham, Jeff Donahoe, and Alyssa McCann is joining us shortly. So first up, we do not have a consent agenda. Is that what I heard?
nope,
Okay.
there's nothing. I thought they
So
would do,
we're
but they're
jumping
not.
right into budget, so cemeteries.
Before you guys get going, I just want to ask Karen a question. So we have another packet. Is this one different than the one we got last week?
Yes,
Okay,
it has
Or-
cemeteries in it, and it has some updated transfer station numbers in it.
okay,
So,
okay. Thank you.
she's up.
That's okay. I'm all set. Thank you.
I'm Gail Kimball, and this is Kelly Lewis. Kelly's been here before, but she's our newest cemetery trustee. Our chair is in California, so she's not joining us. So the cemetery budget looks a little bit different this year because we have made the decision to move forward for another year without hiring a sexton or filling the sexton position. So the trustees are currently managing, community relations, I would say, sales, marking burial, and we do a lot more of marking, sites for burials than we do, handling sales. So if you roll down to, professional services, what you'll see is a request for, the landscape service pinnacle is up to almost $49,000. And my suggestion is that the trust reduce its contribution from 20 to 18, more closely matching the income that will be available to us. And as you know, we can only spend the income. We cannot spend principal in the perpetual care funds. In addition to that, we asked for $12,000 for ground penetrating radar. We have currently closed the old Hopkinton Cemetery to new sales because we hit ledge we didn't hit ledge, we actually hit rocks when we went to bury somebody. So it pretty much makes it impossible to continue selling lots behind that because at some point you wouldn't be able to go there if there's additional rocks. So the groundbreaking, is that better?
Yeah.
Sounds better to, yeah. So the ground penetrating radar would be what we would need to do in order to survey the ground and understand where there might be open ledge. We'd already discussed not expanding the cemetery beyond the current outlines because of the expense of removing ledge or blasting the ledge. So we think what happened perhaps is that the last time they blasted, the rocks didn't all get cleared. So it was some pretty nice big rocks we uncovered. So certainly the alternative to this is just to leave the old Hopkinton Cemetery closed to new sales, which we have room in New Hopkinton and we certainly have room in Kentucky Village. So the good news is we asked for $12,000, but I did get a hold of the principal of the firm that we've used in the past, and he thinks it's more in the range of 6, maybe even less, if we even want to proceed with that. And then we asked for an additional $6,000. It says trees, but it's really maintenance. So it would be trimming the bushes, clearing brush. We get small down trees and some fence repair and things like that. My suggestion would turning the water on and off. We have asked the town to turn the water on and off, and the Public Works isn't interested in doing this, but this is $6,000 of miscellaneous work that could easily, in my opinion, go to the Public Works Department. And that is the professional services line. Then in the Memorial Gardens, which we had decreased, we increased again. Again, Pinnacle is mowing the two Memorial Gardens, the one in Kentucky and the one in Hopkinton, and that's about $1,800. It's $300 a month for 6 months. And again, there's no weed whacking involved in the Memorial Gardens, so that's a pretty easy task. So again, seems to me you have some other alternatives there. And then the remaining items, electricity, water, dues, and groundkeeping are all pretty self-explanatory. Under the groundkeeping, there's a lot of bad old signs around. So again, we can live with them, but we thought that maybe this would be a good year to go and pull some of the signage that's not really working for anybody. We do like it when the cemeteries are used. As you know, the Kentucky Cemetery is part of the Tookie Trail Network. So we certainly do like that. I think it's a good thing for the taxpayers. So that's the budget as we came up with it to present to you tonight.
Can you, just going up to Memorial Gardens, you said that we had some alternatives, and I didn't know what you meant by that.
Public Works. It would be that would be an easy mow job for them because there's no weed whacking involved.
We could have the Public Works Director comment.
Good.
Kel, where is the 6,000 for the water? Shutting off the water?
No, that was part of the maintenance. So
Okay.
the maintenance, so Pinnacle Landscaping could turn the water on and off. They trim the bushes, they repaired, yeah. They can't remove any big trees, obviously, but anything that can be taken care of from the ground, they took care of.
I'm still confused. Where is the 6,000 actually represented?
It's
It's
under professional services.
in the 2026 line. When you go across, you can see the first $48,000 is actually lawn maintenance. And then there's a trust contribution, and then after that, it says GPR $12,000, which we just reduced to 6. And then it says trees.
Mhm.
It really is trees, bushes, and maintenance.
GPR is now 6, so that 48 comes down to 42?
No, it's separate. The 48 comes down by 18,
Right.
Because of the
because
truck?
offset.
plus 6, plus 6.
Okay.
So wait, it says town 48, that actually would be 30?
Yeah, it's 48 minus 18, not plus
I
18.
see, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
And just because I wasn't here last year, a clarifying question.
Yeah, of
When
course.
the budget was reduced last year by 10,000, what adjustments did you end up making to stay within budget?
What a good question. And can I tell you? That would be part of our strategic plan. So off the top of my head, I can't remember if that was part of mapping Kentucky. So there's a lot of space in Kentucky, but we're almost at the end of sellable lots. So at some point, we are going to have to invest in creating new maps for the new burials. So I'm not 100% sure that's correct, Alyssa, but that's my best recollection.
So the GPR that's the ledge and rock finding,
Correct.
okay. So wait, is that 12 grand just for that radar? To find Legend Rock?
We just reduced it to 6.
I see, okay, that's. So you said that that is in the old cemetery. and if we-
That's, yes.
If we don't do that, we'd have to close off selling, or, sorry.
Selling, we won't be, yes, we will not be able to sell any more lots in Hopkinton.
So, but you said there's room in the other cemeteries.
There, yes.
Okay. So,
And a good question to ask, which I can't answer, would be how many sellable lots there even are that we would get for that $6,000.
Also, how much would mapping be at Kentucky Cemetery to get you more available space?
That's a different kind of mapping, so I don't think it's a lot of money.
Okay.
The firm that does this said that he would come up. He must like us because he's in New Hampshire. He's a former, we were clients, said he'd come up and sit down and look at all of our maps and see what, where we were and what we could be doing. So I thought that could be a project for next year. But if you'd like to give us some money for this year, we can spend it improving the cemeteries.
Another just clarifying question that might be a Karen question, just as I'm reading this. To understand, if I'm looking at the 2025 year-to-date expenditures, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not we're actually on track against the budget.
We're over.
Yeah, but I'm not sure where the 18,000 from the trust, or sorry, the 20,000 from the trust comes in.
That would show in revenue, which does not show on this expense report. So you just kind of have to hold that in your mind.
But then should I be adding 20,000? Like, does the budget of 17? Because it looks like,
so
Yes,
Yeah, they budgeted 17 to be offset by 20. No, sorry. Come the wrong line. Budgeted 47. To be offset by 21. That shouldn't have been reduced because I think we have to raise and appropriate the whole amount, but I will look into that.
yeah, I'm
So-
trying to figure out like how it's represented and
Right. Gotcha.
tracking it. Because I'm a little confused about
Rightfully
the
so.
requested amounts against like who's paying for what and then how it's represented in the budget.
Yeah, that looks like,
it's a $45,000 expense and we pay it through December. So we haven't accrued all of the expense yet, and I haven't seen, Kelly said there was a reimbursement request coming with the trustees shortly.
And so we're expecting the 2025 total cost to be around 47.
Yes.
Okay, well, maybe I have the wrong version of the document.
What?
I have 2025 budget of 36,985.
Plus, oh,
On page 17.
plus 20 from the perpetual care fund, Jeff.
They get you.
Oh, I'm on 70. We're looking at professional services line item. There seems to be, because it seems like the trust, that money goes specific to that line item. Otherwise, okay. Otherwise it'll be represented elsewhere, I assume at the bottom. So it's specific to this line item where money from the trust comes out for professional services. And so it says in 2025 that the town 7, but the budget I'm seeing is 17.
which incorporates the 10,000 that the select board reduced it by.
Okay, so if we reduced it by 10,000, then that means that we should be spending 37 this year.
But we're not supposed to present it then. We're supposed to present the total amount of the budget. The revenue side from the trust is somewhere else.
Right, it should be.
So if
gross
you're saying
budget.
that this 17 is actually 27 because you reduced it by 10,000 from the trust already?
No, Jeff. I'm trying to just, the 10,000 is a select board
asking you.
reduce.
Kelly does the budget. You'll have to ask Kelly. All I know is we pay $45,000 for landscaping and the perpetual care funds makes an offset of 20,000 against that. Is that helpful?
Not particularly, but it's not your fault.
Yeah, it took me about 3 years to be able to read the budget, so.
Been reading it for 6 now and I'm still not sure.
I
So
think
the-
where I'm getting confused.
Total budget for total budget, total to be spent, 27,000 was your ask in 25.
For professional services.
Yes, professional services. It was, the select board reduced it by 10.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we must have asked. for
Gets you to this
57.
17.
Yep.
okay?
That's why it's.
And then you add the 20 back in.
No, that's not correct.
What?
It can't be correct
Why?
because we're paying $45,000 for the landscaping service.
So.
Right,
so
that's just the budget though, not the actual. The actual is 31,200.
Oh, the year to date, that just, yeah, it will be 45 by December.
So your total ask for 25 should have been 47,174 plus 20, which would have been, sorry, 27 would have been $47,000. That was your total appropriation for 2025. The select board reduced it by 10 to 37 and change.
Feel free to talk to Kelly.
But then it sounds like the actual budget and contract was never adjusted to reflect what was.
When I think I'm with Jeff. Your revenues are budgeted completely separately. We should be looking at only expenses and then revenues sit out somewhere else.
So I know this is just exploratory. This is not to like get to any answers. It's just to make sure we understand what we're looking for. Can we put an asterisk on this?
Yep.
Come back to it with Kelly.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you.
Before we move on from this line item, I want to make sure I got all of the changes to what's here. So under 2026, it says town 48 plus trust 18.
It should be minus.
Okay. Okay, so then over in the 2026 department request where it says 48,825, should that be 30,825 then?
No,
And
based
it-
on,
That's what we're talking about is gross, if, I think we have to appropriate 100% of what we're going to spend. And then it's offset by revenue, which.
I agree, I agree. That's what I was not following. Okay, okay, thank you.
so, oh, sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Your turn.
Okay, I was just gonna say, once we fix this, the percent change will look less dramatic.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah, yeah.
That's assuming they go back and fix the previous years.
Yeah.
Yes, but if we
We may
don't,
not
and
be
we
able
just
to
pick up
do.
with this year, then
Right.
it'll look more dramatic. Good times.
So just for clarification, if we chose to just stop selling lots in the Hopkinton Cemetery,
Yes,
we wouldn't need the ground penetrating radar.
correct,
Penetrating radar.
correct.
Okay.
Speaking of that one again, can you just clarify for me? You said we reduced it by 6,000?
Yeah, I mean,
It's
just
12.
now in conversation.
I asked for 12. As you know, we only had about a week to put our budget
Yep.
together. So I got a hold of the company today, the company principal, and he gave me a much better estimate.
Solid quote. Okay, excellent. Okay.
I wouldn't say it's a solid quote, it's a much better
Better
estimate.
Closer to reality.
Yeah,
So, okay, one more question. So if we are not allowed to touch the principal and it's only interest that we're pulling, why is it, so much less over the last 4 years?
We actually had some expendable funds.
Okay, got it.
And
And
if
now
I-
those are gone.
Yes.
Okay.
And we were presented, happy to take ownership of this, but we were presented last year with reimbursement requests going back to 2022. So I had no real understanding that we had pulled that much money out of the expendable funds. I think we wrote, I don't want to tell
That's
you
all
how
right.
much we wrote off the top of my head. So anyway, so our expendable, so yes, so we always had a little extra money if a tree fell,
Yeah.
if we needed to do a map project, we had a strategic plan, we always had a little extra money to pull from, but pretty much now we don't.
Sorry, just logistically, if
No,
someone
it's-
buys a plot, does the revenue from that go into the perpetual care?
A proportion of it goes back to the town.
Okay,
Boy,
it's all right. You don't have to give me the details. And then a portion of it goes into the endowment or whatever we call it. Okay.
the perpetual care funds, yes.
So for 2026, with the reduction in the GPR, the impact is 24,875. And what that is, that's the 48 less the 18, less the 6 impact. But we will have to gross appropriate the 42,875.
Hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, so because I couldn't quite understand the bottom line. With the $15,000 or so, we're in theory saving from not hiring the sexton. We're moving 6,000 of it into maintenance. Well, we're moving almost 8,000 into other maintenance costs and other line items.
Any other questions?
Now, can I say that this is where Ken Trom would ask me why we're not generating more income? And that is a conversation, I think it was Jeff asked me this last year. I did have that conversation with New Hampshire Trust. And basically the portfolio manager said that the upside was pretty limited in terms of how much more income he thought could safely be generated, but that we would lose all of the upside potential of growing the principal, which is growing by about 8,000, grew about 8%. I don't know if we're going to maintain this. This last quarter didn't look too good, but is that helpful? Rob the future. It's my fiduciary responsibility to protect the future, not just today.
Okay. Is that it for cemeteries?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
My
you very
pleasure.
much. Good job.
Stop by anytime.
Be careful. Thank you. Thanks for being
Thanks.
here.
Thank you.
Coming in. Okay. So. Wait, Webster's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sort of. Okay. Were we gonna move things around to have Webster chat with us, or we were gonna have Dan?
Dan's here to chat
Okay.
with Webster and us and
Perfect.
provide
Welcome, Dan.
infinite
We're
knowledge.
a few minutes ahead of schedule.
Come on down.
Dan is coming back next week
Okay.
because he just loves coming.
Thanks, Dan.
We know he does.
You can have a cookie, Dan, if you like.
Before you get going, do you have a comment on DPW taking on the mowing of cemeteries?
We were asked to blow out the water lines and stuff, and I said, no. I don't want to get involved in perpetually doing stuff without monetary support, equipment support, and personnel support. So I'm saying no.
Okay.
I've had this conversation with previous boards. If you want the Public Works to take over the cemeteries, I need 2 full-time guys. At least 1 truck, preferably 2, and all their own equipment. And I don't want to take on something, well, it's only gonna be an hour a day to mow this. No, we're already stretched this thin as it is.
Right.
We're swamped.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, or 32. We starting with the transfer station?
Yeah, there's actually a separate small.
Oh.
2-page.
Okay.
Yeah. You like them to come out?
Well, I think-
Like fill up more chairs.
Yeah, well, we have. Yeah, we have Dan presenting and then I think we can. If you guys have questions or want to chat about transportation stuff, then we'll have you come up so the mics pick you up, but. I think we'll start with. Our head of DPW here.
So aside from the trash haulage and disposal, had very minor increases. It's just historically, these things we've gone over. And Joanne has made some phone calls about where prices are gonna be. So we're pretty steady, but the big issue is the transport and disposal. Contract is up. Neil always handled the contract. Karen is kind of doing that right now. I don't know what you just handed out.
They have not seen the contract. So basically the contract. Continuing with waste management, there were a couple of different options. All of them were expensive.
And when does that contract run out?
December 31st.
December 30th.
Okay, year end. Okay, okay.
So I haven't connected with Roy to ask him. He's been hounding me.
Who's Roy?
Roy is our waste management person. I think he's pushing to have a decision. I don't know if that's just because he wants to lock us in or if it's to prevent us from going out to bid, which
Both.
I'm not adverse to. So,
And so just for clarification, this doesn't have any change in that price, but we expect it to be.
Well, right now, there's two options. We could do a 1-year extension. 119 per ton, correct?
yes.
From
If we
90
use their,
98.
if we use their trailer. If we use our trailers, it's 122.
Really?
Yes, which
That's
makes
money
me,
generous, huh?
which makes me very angry because we just purchased.
I
two
know
new
we did.
trailers.
I know we did.
We're a little bit off there, Dan.
Oh, sorry.
If we go with the contractor supplied trailers for 5-year contract, it starts at 110 per ton, goes up a little over $5 a year. If we were to continue to use our trailers and lock in for 5 years, it starts at 119 and goes up a little over $5 each year per ton.
And just, do they have explanation why using our trailers is more expensive than their trailers?
Because they say their trailers haul more. And also we have the live trailers and they only have their disposal people only have one truck that's getting very old that has the wet system on the truck to be able to push those rams out, which no one said a word to me until like 2 months ago.
Yep, right after you bought the last trailer.
So currently they've welded some hooks in those trailers and they've chained them up. So they put them on these giant platforms that actually dump the whole trailer
Oh my.
instead of pushing it out.
Right, wow.
So, I did contact the company that we bought the trailers from. He does not want to be a middleman, but he's gonna ask around other municipalities and see if
Sure.
anyone's interested in buying some trailers.
Okay.
Because it's kind of foolish in my eyes to go with our trailers when they're just gonna charge us
More.
Yeah,
a
more,
lot,
yeah,
a lot more.
right.
And they're not charging a trailer rental fee or some other.
So we did ask about buying some time and asked for a 1-year contract, which is the 122 per ton. Which would give us, if we needed the time to go out to bid and negotiate something.
If the 5-year option starts at 110 and goes to 123, then a 1-year option at 120 doesn't make
Two.
sense.
Unless you want to beat up somebody else.
Rather negotiate with them for 103 for the first year and $5 a year after that.
Yeah, okay.
There's also gonna be a, was it 3.5%?
It's a $3.50.
$3.50 per ton charge to everyone. Municipalities will get that money back at the end of the year.
That's a DES charge.
So we'll get it back if DES doesn't find them for something.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's supposedly we're supposed to get that money. Any municipality is supposed to get that
Yep.
money back. I think they're going after the, like the private haulers that haul down there.
Right.
Those people would not get their money back.
So that's the only significant change in the budget. It appears from looking at this.
And if everything goes well, demolition has actually gone down.
Yes.
And I think trash was down a little bit as well.
And is that just because the volume is down or because recycling is up? Or do we know?
I don't know. The demolition and my speculation is the price increases have thwarted some people from bringing their demo over here because they can probably get rid of it cheaper somewhere else.
Yep.
But we'll know better with the numbers more towards the end of the year.
Right. Good.
I have a question. When it says our average tonnage is 3,200, is there like a wide range that comes to that
No,
average?
32 is really not average. 32 is on the higher end.
Okay, it's good to
lot of-
budget conservatively.
I always go the higher amounts because
Yep.
you never know from year to year. So my budget is strictly controlled by the weather, with the highway budget's strictly controlled by the weather. So I go by high everything
Mhm.
and hope for the best.
Do we ever like have heavier tonnage because of the weather?
That I don't know. I don't believe so.
Okay.
3 or 5?
It's great.
3, it's 3. 1, 3.
Dan, it seems like we need to figure out what's gonna happen for next year soon. So that we all know what number to put in the budget here.
Cookies.
What's gonna have to do, it sounds like Jeff's gonna wanna just go with that contract.
Yeah, I mean, should we put a pin in that and plan to readdress it at some point? I mean, how do we, process wise, how are we gonna do that?
Well, I think we need to commit to something for next year, whether it's a 1-year or 5-year. I don't know how fast people will turn around numbers. We've got a couple of names and I just haven't had a chance to call and
Okay.
to talk to people. I also haven't not had a chance to see if this guy can bring his numbers down.
Yeah, right, which I think should be part of whatever conversations.
Yeah, I think we were all sort of surprised because Jolene called and said, hey, can you get me the numbers for the contract? And I don't think we knew it was.
I didn't realize it was up this year.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Yeah.
Neil usually handled that anyway, that part of it.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay.
Did we go out to bid 5 years ago or something? Do we know? I don't remember.
I can't remember, what he did.
I think it was Waste Management before that, just looking at the email chain that I'd seen.
We have
Yeah, it was a renewal last time. I don't know if it's 3 years or 5 years, but it was definitely a renewal.
Is there a lot more people that do it?
That's what I was gonna ask is like.
Yeah.
All
That's-
of Casella,
Casella maybe, yeah.
Naughton,
Norton's,
Waste Management.
Oh, okay, Naughton would come and pick it up and take it up too, type of thing.
not 100%, but
Yeah,
The recollection that I have from Neil telling how it happened, and is maybe wrong, but my recollection of that was that when they were starting the bidding and negotiation process, Waste Management was short the amount that they needed in order to close a large contract for out-of-state trash. And so we got a significantly better rate than we would have normally gotten.
That might speak to the large increase. So on that 312, I ran the numbers on, was it, I think I did them at 122. And that was a $77,000 increase in that line. Yeah, at 122 per ton, it bumps that 312,900 up to 390,400. $290,400.
You said it's a $77,000 increase total?
77 and a half. Yeah.
So that's 8% or so in the total transfer station budget. Because the total proposed budget right now is 823,341. So another 77,000 would take us up to 900,000.
Yep.
Yay.
I'm gonna say.
Feels like we're sort of between a rock and a hard place, given the timing. Or if this contract's up in like a month. And
5 days,
change. What's that?
45 days.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how we could logistically try to go out to bid.
Going out to bid might be a challenge, but
Ask for
how close do we want to? I think the purchasing policy said we would have, basically says that we would have to go out to bid, but if we called around and said, hey, can we accept some proposals?
I think you can, 45 days. They know what their costs are to haul it from you guys to wherever they're taking it. Yeah, within 30 days, I would think should be no problem. That's me, but the stuff that I deal with in life.
Yeah. The only thing is I don't want to wait 30 full days to
Okay.
fix someone.
To nail this down either.
Yeah, I mean, we need to nail it down in 2 weeks.
Or, yeah, but I mean,
First
if the people that you guys are talking about, the other couple vendors, just reach out to them, say 15 days, you want to put a bid in on that, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think that it's
probably
not,
have- we probably have the language from the existing contract that you could quote to say, this is what we want.
Yep.
And if you want to propose anything else, propose it as a separate cost.
Or reduction.
Pardon me?
Or reduction.
yeah, right.
Or reduction, yes.
But it's pretty
Don't get me wrong.
straightforward, right? It's pretty straightforward. They're gonna come take away
Yeah,
the material. Yeah.
they'll whine about it. Oh, I can't possibly do that before Thanksgiving. Okay, we'll call someone else. Maybe I can do it.
I don't know what your policy is. Ours allows for either going out to bid or calling to request 3 quotes.
Right.
And so if that's the case, yeah, you can call up and
Yeah.
just,
I think
we're
that might
expecting to
be-
make a decision in, X amount of time. We'd like to include you as part of that.
Yeah, ours might be limited to under 25 or 55. If we had this discussion on some other issue last year.
we did.
But in any case,
So do you want to make it an attempt at reaching out to some of these other vendors and see if we can get some info?
I think it'll answer some questions one way or the other.
Mhm.
and like if 1 or 2 come back and are much higher, then you know where your position is at the negotiating table. If they come in that much lower, then you know where your position is at the negotiating table.
Okay, so TBD on that. Okay,
I'm curious about the maintenance repairs and the building repairs. Just in relation to the conversation about potentially selling the trailers, would you see a change in any of those? Have the trailer?
Possibly, but the building is also getting old, so it's requiring more work.
Yeah. Which to bring me to the CIP. Yeah. And just questions about the building that has come up over the years, the fact that it's fallen down.
The recycling building is in CIP.
Which building are you talking about? Okay,
The actual
the actual one?
station itself.
Just so I know how to read this, as I'm looking at the really large piece of paper. For instance, and we're seeing in 2026, the estimate around trailer 3, where would that be represented in the actual budget?
For trailer number 3, it'd be in the CR.
So it wouldn't show up in here at all.
No,
No.
Okay.
At some point in the process, we'll have a breakout of the appropriations to capital reserve funds. And so we'll see what that impact is separate from the operating budget.
Got it.
And this is spending, that red is spending from the CRF.
Yeah, just curious. How much did the most recent trailer cost? How long did we wait for it?
most recent one, I believe, memory serves me correct, was 113,000, somewhere around there. And that one wasn't as bad as the one before. I think it was like 8 months or something like that.
So the fact that we could deliver it in a couple of weeks to somebody might be attractive.
It's a brand new trailer. They're both brand new trailers.
Right.
One's just a touch over a year and the other one's around a year.
Facebook Marketplace. Get it sold.
I tried selling the old ones, but it's been good. I think that's going out, those are going out to auction soon.
Does seem weird. They're cheaper picking it up though, still. Yeah.
Yeah,
Supposedly they're larger, and that's what his comment was to me, was, oh, they're larger vessels, we don't have to come as often, but
Right.
Dan was saying that
Per ton is lower.
they come once a day or whatever.
yeah,
How much do we believe that, Dan?
I don't. I
You
believe,
Look at all the weight. We all have to follow the same weight rules.
right, and I personally feel that you might get an extra 2-3 trailers a year by using theirs. It's really not that big a deal.
It's not like a
No,
40 versus 52, it's a 40 versus 40.
no.
Plus, that you still got the weight.
Right.
I think it all comes down to they don't want to replace their older truck with with a wet system.
Ah,
That's gonna cost them more.
that's a lot. Yep.
I think it's just that it's easier for them just to put it on the pad and dump it.
Haven't they been doing that previously with all of our existing trailers?
They have a truck currently with a wet system, but it's an old truck. And they don't want to replace it, so.
That's interesting.
I have a question.
Russ.
In the CIP that we're replacing a trailer next to it the year after, were those the trailers that you notified so previously?
Yes,
Different trailers, okay.
there's 3 trailers total. We replaced 2 and the third one was coming up for next year, I believe.
I just wanted to make sure we had the CIP, because I know we've written payments with for 2 of the trailers already, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have anything on the verticals. So I'm just hoping. I said I haven't noticed.
Yeah, they're terrible.
Better communication. And it's over once a year, so that I have it, so that I can update our CIP to make sure my board's notified.
Usually Neil did that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just so you, our CIP just started meeting, they had their second meeting last week when I was out, so these are, I would say, estimates, I haven't even.
Oh, no, I just didn't see these in last year. All of a sudden, like, oh, no, I have a trailer next year, and another trailer the following year.
No, there's only one more trailer to go.
Oh,
We got behind on purchasing the trailers because it took so long to receive them.
no, that's fine. We have the same problem with one of our servers. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but why are we still trying to replace the third trailer? Or no, if we can't?
We're, as of right this minute, it's still on, because we
Okay.
haven't said we're done with our trailers yet. If
Okay.
You guys make the decision, say, let's go this route,
Right,
then we'll take it out of CIP,
got it.
but it needs to stay there for right now.
Yeah,
And just, it does say in our purchasing policy that, you know, we do have the ability to waive the bid requirements. So we do have that as a fallback. Hopefully we don't get there, but that is an option.
And if by chance we did go with a different company, they might have trucks with wet systems on them, so our trailers are now back in play.
So I'm the new guy on the block, and just a question, the trailers are used for moving the debris somewhere, right?
Moving the trash from the transfer station to the dumping site.
Okay.
I noticed that on this large CIP piece of paper, the lagoons are on here. But are all of our bonds on the CIP?
This is just the Webster CIP items.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
So,
We'll have more.
and this is not directed at Dan, this is just like a
Yeah,
comment,
discussion.
we're looking at these numbers. Our budget for this year could go up by about 90K, right, back of the envelope number. And that would be a year-over-year increase. Versus the purchasing of an additional trailer next year, which would only be 115. So it seems that if there is a trash company that would take our trailers, if I'm thinking about this incorrectly, let me know, but then we'd save a lot of money over time. Potentially.
So that depends on Kelly's answer to, well, if we negotiate that they take the new company takes the trailers in exchange for a lower rate for us, yes. If we sell the trailers to another community or to another company, then we're gonna reclaim that in CIP money. And these guys get a credit for the piece that they paid for. And then, you know, we'll have that money for some other project at the transfer station. Instead of a credit, we may apply it to a building upgrade or perhaps the entry system we discussed. I don't know, we haven't just talked with you guys about that, but you know, we looked at RFID access where every vehicle has a sticker. You pull up, the arm opens, you go in, closes automatically. That's, I mean, it's relatively inexpensive. I think it was 40 grand, maybe. Dan, is that?
I don't remember.
That was a year ago.
And there's also a third in there, which is if, because we have the trailers and they can do this and push out without having to be lifted and craned,
Yes.
then a different company might actually discount their service because they don't need to provide a trailer.
Right.
Which I think is what she was aiming towards.
Cause it feels like we'd save a short, like a little bit amount of money in a very short time, but ultimately we didn't paying a ton more. By
Because
selling
we
the
have
trailers.
any of our own, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's,
You're very trash.
I do it like that.
Dan, have we ever looked into like, we have the trailer, we know where it's gonna go, the tipping fee once you get there, hiring somebody trucking it from there to there.
I have not.
Has that ever been, that might be also, I mean, I have no clue, you know, but they're gonna get money for the trip from there to there. So,
Back when, now this is just vague recollection, when Steve Clow was overseeing the transfer station and we were part of the consortium to go to Pennacook,
yep,
we hired a company to truck it down there. But that was, he got us out of that and that was a good thing. So we're not responsible for the heavy metals that are left over from after they burn, because they're going into a landfill somewhere.
right. But these pretty much would, if we were to truck it, doesn't it go up north?
It can go a lot of places.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when
Waste
they,
management
when they come in and get it, we don't have a clue
New.
where it's going.
I think Jolene knows most of the time where they're taking it. She talks with the driver all the time, but I know that sometimes it goes up to Bethlehem,
Right.
sometimes it goes to Pennacook. It's wherever they need to fill at that time. Like he said, we could discount in the past because we needed to, they needed trash somewhere else.
And the other consideration, I think, is probably if they do it themselves, they may give us a discount on the tipping fee versus if we truck it in ourselves.
Generally, that's how it does work. I don't know for sure. But
Yeah.
generally, that's how it does work.
So are we gonna address this again in a week, 2 weeks? How
Well,
much time?
Why don't we have Karen make some calls? We know we have the authority and discretion to have to like official bid process. And just see what we can find out, and we'll be back here next week.
Yeah,
But yeah, I think if we don't get anything helpful in the next like week or so, I don't know, I think maybe we
Do something.
go with lower cost 5-year situation and figure out what we're doing with our trailers.
our surplus trailers.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah.
That will be very upsetting to lots of people.
Yes.
Well, maybe we're meeting every week, so we could do, I mean, we could do 2 weeks, but I don't know how people feel about,
Let's see how far I can get in a week. I
Yeah.
mean, tomorrow's a holiday, but
yeah.
let's see if we can push some people.
And maybe push our current vendor,
Yeah.
see where they're willing to go.
Mhm. Let's make a deal.
Right. Okay, so what else, Webster folks, do you have other questions on the budget or?
Just looking at this, I had one kind of curiosity, and that was on the front page. The front page for transfer station telephone. That seems extremely exorbitant in price and increase. Can someone talk about what happened there? Is $226 a month for the telephone line and internet there seems really ridiculous.
Do we have alarms up there, Dan?
We have alarms.
Telephone.
I'm trying to remember.
The alarm is in the lines.
Right, but it might
That's a
be,
monitoring.
So you're saying like the alarms need telephone lines and then the monitoring, that's central station?
I'd have to ask Julian about that cost.
What are the alarms for?
Well, the alarms for the building, anyone breaks in,
Right, I get that.
Fire?
hmm?
Do we have
The
fire?
fire.
Yeah.
Who's the vendor?
I believe it's ESP.
Okay, I'm familiar with, that's what we use up in Webster. Actually, it's not a bad price given the facility.
For the alarm portion.
Yeah, given my background, it's a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah, I'm just,
Just saying.
the telephone portion seemed really ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. But that's not the, well, that depends. Now, do you have a self capability there too? So it's not just on the telephone line, but you also have cell backup?
I don't recall, I know the community well out behind the transfer station is cellular because there's no telephone out there.
You know, just if the power goes off,
Yeah.
you get a backup.
Yeah, I can't recall.
You might,
My building's the ground guy handles the alarm, so.
that might be a question to be asked, just a thought.
We can dive
Yeah.
further into that phone, but you can see it's trending.
Yeah.
This was 9 months worth of data, when the budgets were entered and so we're
Mhm.
already over.
Is that TDS for you as well? Okay. We've had some decent luck speaking with TDS after several years of increases like that and dramatically changing the results once we talk to them.
So we are in the process of doing an audit on our electricity and our phones. TV, internet cable, whatever, you know, for the fire station and stuff. Hoping that we will be able to find some economies. Just haven't quite finished that yet.
And that's my whole question was whether or not this was dovetailed into that larger project we talked about last week, which I assume it is, evaluating the telephone.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
yeah, yep, yeah.
So on the budget itself, I think that, at least for me, answers the questions for the transfer station. I guess since it's on the CIP portion, I'll simply ask, I thought that the way you had intended with the bonds was that it would be part of the operating budget, and because that way we would be paying our percentage. But is it actually a completely split out separate thing like this?
Can you restate that question? Because I,
So the way I thought that from Neil's explanations before was that the bond payments for the lagoon closing would simply be another line item in the transfer station operating budget. Because that whole operating budget is offset by revenues as well as forgiveness of things like the bonds. And then we would be on the hook for our percentage of that, just
Right.
like the normal operating budget.
Right.
Is that accurate, or is it split out completely separately like this is?
Right now, it's split out separately because we haven't started paying.
Okay. And
That's the planning.
okay, so it is just
Yep.
planning, that makes sense. And I don't have to jump to that this second, but that will be a topic for further discussion this evening. But I guess all of my other comments and questions will be surrounding the lagoon closing, whether it's bond payments or other things. So if there's anything further on the transfer station, I don't want to jump ahead of anybody.
Are we covering revenue?
I had trouble with the revenue report. I've given you a report of year-to-date revenue. I could not get the budget. It just kept saying no data, so.
If you don't mind too.
If you tried, okay, so there's something wrong in that, and Kelly was out today, so I couldn't get that squared away.
Do we have a sense of, if you have a ballpark sense of how the green bag program ending has had any sort of impact on our levels of recycling in town?
That would be a Jolene question. We have to look at the numbers.
Yeah.
Definitely know more towards the end of December when I ask for her for the kind of like the close to end for the town report. We can look at that then and see where we're at.
Yeah, that's usually about somewhere there, or January is when she sends out the recycling report, right? Speaking of the revenues, there is the portion for reimbursement from Warner. In speaking with a couple people in Warner, including their finance person, they thought that that should have actually already ended. And so my question is, do we know how long they're supposed to be paying that and when it's supposed to stop?
I looked for that contract. I asked somebody about it and I could not find the contract. I think it goes back a number of years and I was told that it goes on forever, correct?
I don't know.
Okay.
Neil did that, but I would assume it goes on forever. That cap's gonna be there forever. I would assume they would have to make payments from Bill.
Interesting.
They say we don't have to
Okay.
monitor that cap anymore. I mean, we incur costs, which brings me to
Okay.
the cap repair. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we had in the 6-inch rainstorm that we had, a portion of the cap actually slipped off the liner. So I've had the engineering company come out. We have no estimates or anything at this point, but they're recommending removing the soil from over the top of the liner, putting new under drain in, then covering it back up. to deal with the large rainstorms that we now get from time to time. The system, the drainage system that's currently under the cap was not designed to handle those large systems. It was made to handle an inch or two of rain. When you get 6 inches in 6 hours, it couldn't take it. There was gaps about a foot wide and probably about 30 feet long where the dirt just slid down off the. Luckily, it didn't totally slide off. It slid down a couple feet, and stopped. So I'm glad I didn't find it with a mower because that's what I was doing.
How old is that cap?
When do we expect more information and pricing?
They're conferring with DES on if this is the correct path to go, and they're working on it. It's all, I just sent them an email the end of last week and said that it'll be coming. I just don't know when yet. It's a slow process with DES.
How old is the cap?
I can't remember the exact age. It's 30+ years old.
Okay, yeah, okay.
In dealing with the lagoons, would they have been open at the time that Warner was part of the transfer station and delivering to them? Should they be paying some of this too?
I believe they were open during that time. And the other part of that question was big word.
All the more reason, I guess it would be important to find said contract and see what it actually said when they left.
I would think that Warner and anybody else who were involved might have the same copy of that contract as well, or DES, I don't know.
I would hope.
Yeah, somebody's gotta have it somewhere. There's a whole bunch of files upstairs. I have one.
That would be, I don't know that he would know, but that would definitely be worth reaching out to Neil.
I did talk to
Okay.
him. Yep,
And he didn't know.
said go upstairs, dig.
What treasure hunt?
I'm sorry, so are you saying that our large project
Mhm.
encompasses waste from a time when there were actually 3 towns feeding to?
That was my question, and he confirmed that yes,
Okay,
or believed that yes, I should say.
right.
I
Okay,
don't know when Warner got out from Hopkins, so I don't know. I can remember as far back as I was in high school and I believe Warner was dumping there, but I'm not 100% on that either. I could ask Jolene to look in any of the files at the transfer station to see if anything came from Warner.
Did we take from other towns as well?
Yeah.
Just, okay.
So, unless there's further questions and comments and discussion there.
I don't think so.
Since we now started talking about the lagoons, the question, or the first question for me, which is one that's been continually asked, and Neil had spitballed a couple million at one point, and in your septic lagoon closure FAQ from January of this year, the last portion under why now is there's an opportunity to save what could be several $1 million by using the septic lagoons for the required disposal of residuals from the wastewater treatment facility. Have we gotten any kind of accurate estimation yet on A, what that's going to cost to move over there, B, how much it would have cost otherwise, so we have a savings, so that there's a revenue from department to department to put that into this project at the transfer station? Because the transfer station project with the lagoon closings is much larger in order to account for that septic coming into, or sorry, those residuals being added into the project.
I don't know that it is much larger.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't believe it's much larger. I'd have to talk to my, sewer superintendent to see if they had any estimations on the amount of sludge they're planning on pulling, but that's all gonna be deep water. So it's not, I don't believe it's gonna be a large volume.
Comparatively.
Correct. I don't think the cost to that project is gonna be that significant.
But that should be a revenue transfer from one department to another to offset costs of this. Because we're not accepting septage. We haven't been accepting septage for a while. So doing that is part of this whole process and budgetary and project cost and revenue. So it shouldn't be, for example, that all of that is then just forgotten and then Webster has to pay for it all as well.
Is Novus doing both projects?
Hazen is doing the
Lagoons.
lagoons at the sewer plant.
Okay.
I don't think we'd be looking at what it would cost the town of Hopkinton to get rid of that material at a different facility. I think it would be just looking at the construction basis, how much extra that would add on.
Yeah, it's a percentage of project cost.
Which I believe would be pretty insignificant in the big picture.
Well, we need the numbers so
Yeah,
that we
sure.
can go through that.
Have we sold the lagoon bonds yet?
Sorry, that was,
Have we sold the sewage lagoon bonds or the PFAS bonds?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
So it,
I know
I don't think.
I don't, we
think
haven't
have.
spent any money yet. I know that.
so it's not actually a bonding. It's a loan set through
There's two
NHDES.
different- I think there's two different projects.
Oh, you mean for the
Wastewater.
wastewater?
Residuals.
So anything at the transfer station should be referred to as cesspools. Anything at the sewer plant should be referred to as lagoons, because I think we're getting a lot of cross contamination going on, so to speak.
So to speak, yes.
Yeah, so cesspools, lagoons, that way, I know it'll make Dave White very happy if you did that. He's listened to some meetings and got very angry. Yeah.
Karen says we haven't spent anything yet, so that money isn't,
Yep.
there's no debt service, because part of it's gonna be forgiven. I was looking on the bond thing here because I think we have the lagoon, I think we have a lagoon bond.
So I'm just gonna say the sewer system versus the transfer station, but the transfer stations is a NHDES loan set with 10% forgiveness.
Right.
And of course, one of the issues there was Webster gave support of and said that we were in for the 10-year bond at the lower rate. And Hopkinton has signed with NHDES and the Executive Council for the longer period of time and a higher interest rate. So how did that happen when we continued to ask about meetings and when we were going to make a decision on how to solve that? Where was the process breakdown and where does that leave us since we only approved a 10-year?
Answer we're gonna get. Transition to power.
Well, that is the actual answer,
Yeah.
because at the time, there was sort of no solution to it. Like you guys went down your route and we went down our route. And I think you were aware of how we were voting and we were aware of how you were voting. And I don't think we never really discussed how this was gonna play out.
So I would comment that part of the agreement that we had and made was that any large decisions had to involve both. And that certainly doesn't seem to have happened.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what are we, if the towns have to vote on the issue and you guys put a different question to your town than we did?
So our town did not have to vote on it because we were not putting up for the DES loans. We were told by Neil and company that all of the it was simpler and better for NHDES to deal with only Hopkinton, who is where the transfer station actually was, and that we would be seeing our portion as part of the budget, part of the operating budget for the payback. And so we didn't actually have to put a loan/bond question on our warrant articles. We did, however, have discussions as a select board, decide on the 10-year. We sent notices to that effect to the select board here and Neil. I showed up to your public hearing and mentioned that that's what Webster was supporting. We also cited that part of that was a $750 million savings by doing it that way versus the longer portion, and that it would guarantee that you would be under inflationary costs for interest. So it's actually free money instead of the longer, which is likely to go above inflationary costs. So there are a number of issues, a number of points of contact, a number of points in time where Webster reached out and tried to be part of that discussion, tried to make sure that our point was there, and we had just finished going through the agreement that said that we were going to be included in any large decisions and the way that that would happen, and it hasn't. So my question is, where does that leave us, and what are some of the ways that we might be able to move forward?
So I guess in terms of what happened months ago now, I mean, we had to put it before our voters. And so, I mean, I guess we will take, I don't know what the right word is, not take the blame, but own the fact that we put that question before our voters and you guys landed in a different place. And so, I don't know, with Neil leaving, I'm gonna go back to that is true. We were without a town administrator for like a few months. And this was one of those things that just was like, we knew what our voters had before them and we knew what you guys were doing, but
that was before the town meeting, because that was at the budget and warrant article hearings on the bonds. It was before town meeting. It was before the.
so you wanted us to change what was before our voters? Is that what?
I don't know if that specificity went before the voters.
Okay.
I think that's a decision.
And and so the way that I believe it was put forth was a bond worth up to X amount. And then I believe the way you had done it was a schedule for the longer period that was, here's what we think would happen, to inform them. And let's see. I think that
Yeah,
was
I've got it.
estimated bond payment, lagoon closing costs, and that was a separate document that we were also given.
Doesn't specify a payback period. That's for us, the select board, to decide. And I recall you guys saying you want to be part of that conversation and all the points you made for why you wanted the shorter repayment term. And I remember us as a board, saying, yes, that's a worthy conversation to have. I honestly don't recall the actual decision that was made to go with the longer term period. And I mean, the date of that when governor and council approved it, just so we can.
Last month.
So the October meeting?
Yeah. Or at least that's when I got notice from one of the counselors in the outputs.
I was hopeful that we had not made that decision yet. I don't know if I just don't remember it. So, yeah, but I do acknowledge that you guys said all the things that you just laid out. And, you know, I do think that we said that we would
Does the
have that
approval,
conversation and it didn't happen.
does the approval from governing council specify a repayment period?
Yes, including the higher interest rate, as on the 20-year plan for the amount of bond payment, which was 3.072 instead of 2%.
And is there a prepayment penalty?
That I'm not sure of. But the interest rate is higher either.
I don't remember, we did not talk about this in any significant way after town meeting, really, unless I'm not remembering. You guys, anyone else remember discussing?
I remember it coming up one time, but my memory was it was we acknowledged that there needed to be a discussion and then I don't recall the discussion ever happening.
Who would have submitted who would have submitted this to the governor's office? Like who?
So they sent us something to sign, which I assume that Neil signed on our behalf unless Sabrina signed it.
Do you know?
Give us more.
Wait, predates me.
So you made a good point just now, talked about prepayment. How would that work if we were to somehow renegotiate this? Dave, jump in on this with me. Could you explain that? I think that.
I only know from experience, right? When I was,
Well, I'm not,
when I was younger, I paid $500 a month extra on my mortgage.
Mhm.
When I paid it off in half the time.
right.
And so the question is, if we were to pay more, I don't know the numbers, so I don't have a recommendation, but is there a way that we can reduce the overall cost by paying faster?
That makes sense. Is there some things we as a group can come to? I mean, we can look back in time and discuss it all night, but it sounds to me like we need to.
Well, we're getting back together in a couple of weeks. We can research to see if there's a way to do.
How do you feel about that, Dave?
So I guess my question there would be
Here it is.
along the lines of A, fairness, and B, how the Hopkinton Select Board wants to also pay back. If they're also like, hey, we really intended to do 10 years and we really wanted 10 years, but we never had the discussion, that's different because we're all moving together in one direction. And maybe that's as simple as reaching out to the governor and the executive council and saying, hey, can we actually do this faster and get you your money back sooner? And they might be open to that amendment. If they're not, and or if Hopkinton doesn't want to go that route, then that's a different
Discussion.
path of discussion. And so I guess, not to put you on the spot, but I would like to get a feeling from your board of if you want to try to go towards the 10-year, or if you still want to stay with the longer that you got.
But I'm like you, I'm a numbers guy, right? I want to know what the numbers are before I can tell you whether I want to do that. And I just don't know. I don't even remember what the total amount was.
Sure. I can actually read them to you because I pulled up the document that Neil had given all of us. So the amount of the bond in either case was said to be $4,015,000. With an interest rate of 1% during the construction years, which was estimated to be 2 years, and then a payment structure after that. The 20-year plan looks at that being almost 4.8 million for total payments, after inclusion of the 10% forgiveness. And that is at a 3.072% interest rate. That is what was signed with the executive council. The 10-year plan also has the 2 years of construction at 1%, also has the 10% forgiveness, had an interest rate of 2%, and had a total payment of just over 4 million, 4,011,000. And so the difference was roughly $750,000 by that change. And that was see if I have a date on this document. I don't have the date on this document at the present moment, but it was titled 07B-estimated bond payments lagoon closing. That was a PDF that was included in one of our joint meetings that we had sent out by Dana and Neil. Provided by Neil.
So we can prepay at any time and without penalty, all or any part of the outstanding principal. And it does look like we voted to go with this at the June 23rd meeting. And it looks like it was on the consent agenda. And I just don't think that we realized the significance of that in the discussion that we said we had before we voted to go with the 20-year as part of the consent agenda. But it was back in June when that
It was
happened.
Karen's first day. So this was obviously something that Neil.
Sorry.
No, this was obviously something that was put in motion, I guess, by Neil, and we just, yeah, I mean, we were functioning for
Kept going.
several months without an administrator, and so this was put on our consent agenda. So I'm sorry about that breakdown in process. Looking backwards, you know, we can learn from this one, but in terms of how we move forward,
So,
You can prepay.
yeah.
So again, my question before we even worry about whether we can prepay or not to the state, my question is from you as a board, do you want to try to go down the road of either prepaying or talking to them and seeing if you can amend the contract to the 10-year with the lower percentages? If that's true, then I'm in favor. I don't know what the rest of my board is in favor of, but I would be in favor of letting that process try to happen. I don't know that anyone's tried to change an agreement with NHDES and the Executive Council before, but I did see several others that requested additional funds being approved right before ours on that same docket. So they might appreciate the fact that we want to give them more of the money back sooner. But again, I want to know what you're thinking and what direction you want to go, because if not, then we can have other discussions.
Right, because we clearly landed on the 20 years. I don't have my notes from last year, but we obviously were convinced that that was better for.
I honestly don't remember having the debate about 10 years versus 20. And I wonder if in the transition,
Oh, I suspect the discussion was Ken and tax rate management.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Ken was off by then. It's Vicky's fault.
No.
mean,
No,
Here-
no, because
maybe-
we were having these discussions way back.
Oh,
No,
but the decision, it was on the consent agenda on June
Right.
23rd.
right.
And based on your comment about taxes, the Hopkinton tax impact based on Hopkinton's share of payments was listed on the side of that chart. For the 20 years, it started at 0.1571. And for the 10-year, it started at 0.2335. So it's there. It's not gigantic, but it is there. So it could have been a decision on tax rate management, but then you're also guaranteeing that you have to keep that adder for twice as long. So
And of course, given my choices, I'd rather pay it down while it was being constructed and borrow $2 million less. I'd rather pay out $1 million a year for 2 years and then borrow $2 million less.
Instead of going to governing council.
Well, I mean, we got the approval. We don't have to take it all, I don't think. We have an approval for 4 million plus.
I think if you go to governing council, it's going to raise some questions. And I'm just thinking, what is a simple collaborative way for all of us to work tonight or in the future, like you're talking about? And maybe doing a pay down so it doesn't probably will affect the tax rate, but how do we deal with that? You know?
If they gave us $4.4 million, we could pay them back $2 million the next day
Right.
if we'd already paid down the cost of the project.
yeah, so there's two reasons to make sure that we take out. The first one is the obvious. We want to take out so that we get the 10% forgiveness that comes back. During construction, since the rate is only 1%, just having something sitting in our unsigned funds or our general fund is going to make more interest than that. So it is good for us to let it sit there for those first 2 years during construction. Not saying that we can't set aside during those first 2 years to, as soon as that's up, pay really quickly. So the
As soon as
percentage
we
is
get
up there,
Get
but
the relief.
right. But you're guaranteeing benefits from that. But again, I'm again, I'll have further conversation, but I want to know from your board whether you're wanting to go towards the 10 and or rapid payment, or if you want to stay with the 20, because that will frame how we can try to be collaborative.
And I like the idea. I don't see it anywhere in our existing budget,
What?
any sort of repayment, because we don't owe anything yet, right?
Correct.
So,
And the expectation was that there wouldn't be any payments until after construction.
right, so
So
two plus.
20, originally 2025 and 26, construction finalizing in 26, doesn't look like that's happening. And then starting payment in 27, but yeah. So
I'm in favor of us doing the analysis to see the impact on our budget. If we assume that it happened today. It's theoretical discussion because we don't know what the tax rate's gonna be 2 years from now or 3 years from now. But I'd be interested in us discussing that to see if it makes sense.
I agree.
And, you know, I mean, as I say, I'm in favor of the shorter repayment, the lower interest rate. I'd rather pay it off, you know, the day that construction is done if we can, but so 1/3, 2/3, is that where we are?
sorry,
1/3, 2/3? You guys are 1/3 or 2/3?
we're roughly 1/4. It's based on population percentages.
Okay.
Our population is technically lower than 1/4. But both the operating budget and this are operating under the assumption, at least in estimates, that 1/4 is close enough for discussion.
So I think, yeah, we have to figure out, because I do remember discussing this at some length with Neil last winter. So I want to go back and dig through what the reasons were, because I remember him being pretty set on doing 20 years. So figure that out. And then if there's a mismatch, we have to figure out how to deal with that math and or needing to I guess if we did agree with you guys and go with the 10 years, we might need to amend what went before the executive council. And otherwise, I think we'll have to figure out how do we function with us at 20 years and you guys at 10 years.
When do you expect that your board will have that discussion and decision?
Well, we're meeting next Monday, so I think we could have a discussion then. Does that work?
I mean, we're not paying yet, but I do want to make sure that we're not just sitting on this and
Yeah.
making it languish, because if either way, there's going to be some sort of documentation and meetings and decisions approved by both boards that needs to happen, that needs to get signed, whether it's going over to NHDES and Executive Council, or whether it's the legal departments of the two towns getting together to write how this payment works out, if it's different or similar.
Yeah. Okay. So
So I mean, just from a round numbers perspective, if this is laid out over 20 years and we try to pay it off in half the time. I mean, I know amortization schedules aren't, you know, it's a bell curve, it's not broken up evenly, but can we just like roughly double the first 10 lines here, the first 10 columns? You know, instead of in 2032 it'd be 263,000.
Sure.
We're actually looking at 526.
Yes, so for the first year of 20 years, the payments in that were scheduled to be 291,722, and in a 10-year it would be 433,680.
Okay,
When you look at the last year's, the difference is greater because you're finalizing so much sooner. But that is the total payments. Hopkinton's estimated share goes from basically 219 to 325 for that first year. And this is what that document looks like. That
Okay.
was presented by email to us. The top one, the first page is 20 years, the second page is
I can see that perfectly.
just so that you have a concept of it's the thing with green and then blue on the side.
so it having been on the consent agenda, I mean, that kind of means, just from my limited time on the board, that all of these loose ends have been tied up and all you need to do is sign your name here. So at some